Hello students, wherever you are, I hope you're doing fine. Welcome to today's lesson, and today we are on topic 7, that's improved farming technology. Improved farming technology. Alright, I think we are still talking of farming technologies. I think we started looking at farm mechanization. On that part, we are looking at some of the machines that we can use in our agricultural production. And also we talked about the gender and agricultural technology and how we can involve both male and females in using the agricultural technologies. So we are continuing by looking at improved farming technologies. Those are the technologies that have been advanced technologically. Yeah, so we should first of all understand that the quality of agricultural production normally would determine the quality of tools and farming practice that you are using. So the yield that you are going to get either when you have grown crops or when you are raising the livestock, the amount of the yield or the production will depend or will be determined by one, the quality of the tools that you're using, as well as the farming practice. What are the tools that you are using? For example, you want to make ridges. Are you going to use the hoe or you are going to use a tractor? So between a hoe and a tractor, it will determine the kind of production that you are going to have. And also we should understand that the farming technology involves the use of advanced technology that can help to produce adequate food so that it can feed to the growing population. You know, the population has increased. It means we are also supposed to produce high or more amount of food so that we can reduce the risk of hunger. So all these will dwell on issues of technology because the technologies will help in increasing the agricultural productivity. Now, these farming technologies maluso amakono amene kugwiritsa ntchito mu ulimi, they have been classified or categorized into two. So we have an improved technology. At the same time, we have improved technology. So let's start with an improved technology. So the word unimproved, okay, it means these are the technologies that we have been used since from the past, or it's like the old technologies, the local technologies that we have been using. So some of these technologies, first of all, is rain-fed farming. So rain-fed farming, this is the kind of farming that we solely or we much depends on rain. Ulimi wodalira mvula. Ngati mvula sibwera ndiyo ulimi usutheka. That's the rain-fed farming. Number 2, use of traditional low-yielding livestock. Using the livestock that cannot yield more products. For example, rearing the local chicken. Okay, you see that the local chicken takes time to start laying eggs. That's an example. Kugwisa ntchito kapena kuweta nyama zimene zili zakalekale. Number 3, use of traditional low-yielding crops. Mbewu zimene sizimapereka zokula zochuluka. Another unimproved technology is the regular tillage of land. Those of us who are following this platform, you see that the first topics we are talking about the soil, management of the soil. Okay, so the regular tillage of land also affects the soil structure. So the practice of regular tilling of the soil, of the land, it's one of the example of an improved technology. And also another example is over-reliance on agrochemicals. Those are the chemicals that we use in our agriculture fields. Kandi tomato, makulupirira mankhwala. Say mankhwala awa, kupere mankhwala awa, kupere mankhwala awa. Those are the examples of an improved technologies. And these are some of the examples like traditional farming tools that we use. Tufuna tikalime, we are using a hoe. Okay? So these are the materials. Wilbur. Inganya muli mandu pangati mene yachimanga. You find kuti ngati munda uli 3 hectares ndeuti if it is the issue of wilbur ndeuti muyenda ti maulendo ambirimbiri. Okay? So those are some of the examples of an improved. Now we should also understand that such practices cannot meet the demand for food by the growing population. So ulimi omagwisa ntchito izizizi siungathandizire kuti anthu akumapeza chakudya chokwanira chimene with the population we are now that it can fit. So they cannot suit the unpredictable changes in weather pattern. For example, the rain-fed farming, you're depending on the rain, but look, up to now, we are still not receiving the rains. So because of that change in weather pattern, it might also affect the agricultural productivity. So that's the first branch or the first category of improved farming technology. The second one is improved one. So improved one is now the modern ones. So this is the use of practices and innovations that increase crop and livestock production. Okay. So as we are increasing the livestock and crop production, we are also focusing on protecting the environment. We are not only focusing on getting much yield, but also we are focusing on conserving the environment. So some of the examples of improved agricultural technology is like using a plow, like a tractor for plowing, crop sensor, and combined harvesters. Instead of harvesting physically using the hands, you can use the machine to harvest your crops. So let's start with the sensors. What are the sensors? Because here we're talking about crop sensors. What are the sensors? So a sensor is a device that detects or measures a physical property and records. So the sensors is the word that has come from the word sense. That's to feel. So those are the devices that they detect or measure. So there are several types of sensors that are used in agriculture to enhance farming activities. So what are these examples of sensors? We have air and soil sensors. So what do they work for? So the air and soil sensors, they enable real-time understanding of current farm, forest, or body of water. So the air and the soil sensors, they normally sense, they will give you real-time understanding like munda wanu uli motani. Nkhalango yanu ili motani kaya madzi amene muli nawo ndi anthu kodi ali ndi chemicals, okay? Madzi ali mquality yanji. Soil, what is the type of the soil that you are using? The soil structure itself. That's the work of the air and the soil sensors. Number 2, equipment telematics. So the equipment telematics, the use allows the mechanical device, such as tractors, to warn mechanics that a failure is likely to occur soon. For example, you're using a tractor, and then there is something that is wrong. So the equipment telematics will notify the mechanic that something is wrong. Okay, that's the use of the equipment telematics. We have also livestock biometrics, and the use of this livestock biometrics is they can automatically identify and relay vital information about the livestock in a little time. So the livestock biometrics is used to measure maybe the health of the livestock. Okay, muli ndi nkhuku mufuna mpange detect kuti nkhuku zigudwa ndi matenda, you can use the livestock biometrics. Kodi zakudya zimene zikudya zikugwira ntchito bwinobwino m'thupi mwa nkhukuzi, you can use the livestock biometrics. Another example of the sensor is crop sensors. So the crop sensors, they are mostly used to operate. For example, we want to apply fertilizer. Okay? So as you are applying fertilizer, instead of prescribing the field fertilization like timakhala ndi mulingo umene timayeza kuti fertilizer tifuna tizikathira pogwiritsa ntchito mulingo uwu and the bottle tops and the like. So instead of using that, you can use the crop sensors on how it will inform the application equipment of correct amounts that are needed. So mufuna muzithira at least kaya ka fertilizer kuchuluka motani kati magrams zochuluka. So you just set kuti ndopita kumunda ndikathire fertilizer kuchimanga, tikufuna pa phando lililonse tizikathirapo fertilizer kaya ndi 10 grams. So you set the machine. So from there you are done. Fertilizer zithira yokha using the correct amount that you have set. You can also have the optical sensors or drones that are able to identify the crop health across the field. So the optical sensors like drone, I think we know my drone. We can set them so that akaenda pamunda they can detect kuti afike mbewu izi zagwidwa ndi matenda akuti. That's the duty of the crop sensors. Let's now talk about the genetically designed food. We are now talking about the livestock. The genetically designed food helps to produce feed that is required for the animals. That's both for biological as well as physiological needs. Kuti mbewu zija zikule bwino, like tupereka chisanzo like nkhuku timazipasa zokudya, ndena timazipasa madeya na timazipasa kaya za nsomba kaya chani. But with genetically designed food, you find that it's a machine that automatically make feed the reliable or relevant feed that is required for our animal production. Agricultural robots, they are also known as the agribots. So these agricultural robots, they are used to automate agricultural processes. So it's like a robot imene makhatira pansi, it is set ituluka ya ready ya green. Okay, so the same you can also set the machine that you can use for some operations like harvesting. You can set the machine to say let's go to the field and harvest. So icho mwachipanga set pamene mukuyenda chichizika kulola mbewu zanu. Fruit picking, you have the fruits, you can use the machine that you can use to pick your fruits. Plowing, that's kumunda. Soil maintenance, weeding, planting, we talked about, we have the planter that you can set kuti tufuna chimanga ndizala chiwiri with a spacing of 50 centimeters. When you set, you are done. Izi zipanga set yokha pamene chikutani pamene chikuyenda. We can also have like irrigation. Kuti mufuna madzi ochuluka bwanji mukathirire kunyengo imene yoyo, you can set as well. Okay? Another improved technology, it's closed ecological system. So ecosystems that do not rely on matter exchange outside the system. We are talking about balancing the environment. Talk about the air, the plants, the animals, the water, and the like. How do we balance them? So such closed ecosystem would theoretically transform waste products into oxygen, food, and water in order to support life forms inhabiting the system. So we are like producing the kind of a cycle. So from those wastes, it should produce something that can be used. So we can talk about, you can transform the waste into oxygen, and the oxygen it's used for us as people to breathe. Talk about food. Okay. Mlindijimanga mwakagaisa majosa madeya jamsatai. You can turn them now to make the feed of the what? The feed of the animals. Okay, so it's like we are turning, or we are having like a we are recycling our products so that they should not be thrown away, but they can be used in other way around. We have the vertical farming. The vertical farming, that's where you have a structure like this one. Mena malo avuta, so you set like the steps. Kuti mbewu zina tizala apa, malo aja akwera tizala mbewu zina pa mtunda apa. You have another step, tizala apa, another step. So that's the vertical farming. Now, what are the ways in which the improved farming technology may increase the food supply? So, the improved farming technology that we have been talking about, they can help in increasing the productivity by one, use of high yielding crops. Make sure that the crops that you are using, the crops that you are growing, they should be the crops that can give you more yields. So the question can be, how can we have the crops that can yield much produce? So that can be done by plant breeding. I think we all know what breeding is, like cross breeding. Mukutenga mbewu iyi, we patikeza kuti ipange produce a hybrid, that is developed one. So apart from being from high yielding hybrids, you have also other superior qualities. Like when you want to breed, mufuna mpange cross breed mbewu ziwiri zitatu zosiyana. How do you consider? What are the factors? So you may consider drought and low moisture tolerant. Mix the crops that are resistant to the drought. Mbewu zimene zitha kupirira kuchilala, so that ngati mvula ija ikuchedwa mbewu ziyasarani zisaonongeke. Resistance to attack by various pests. Pali mbewu zina zimatha kupirira kuti zilombo timeta gudana ndi matenda. So you should mix those breeds that are strong enough to withstand from the pests that they can attack. You can also have the breeds that is disease resistant. Zimene zitha kupirira ku matenda. But also high nutrient content, like in Teza. Teza provide the nutrients, like the proteins. So you can also mix those that have high nutrient content, as well as herbicide tolerant, that are tolerable to the herbicides like mankwala, metimatani, timatia. So that's the first one, using of improve the yields of the crops. Another way is the use of improved livestock breeds and hybrids. Apart from crops, you can also have the improved livestock. So these livestock, you can also consider about the increased heat tolerance, resistance to tropical diseases, bali ziwetu zina sizimachidwa kugwidwa ni matenda. So you only choose those livestock that are resistant, that can withstand to the disease that are available in that environment. But also high tolerance to infestation by both internal and external parasites. In other words, high prolific cancer. Those are ziweto zimene zitha kupirira kapena zimatetezeka kuma parasites kati zilombo timene timatha kugwira ziweto zathu. Another example of an improved technology is use of advanced irrigation systems. Sinthawi yomagwisa ntchito maotake, kwanyamula kuotake no kwanyamula kuotake. No, you can use the advanced systems, okay? Because those irrigation systems will help to supplement the rain where it is not adequate or is unreliable. Kumalo kumene mvula siri yodalirika komanso ikubwera yochepa, you can use the methods of irrigation. Crop protection, tikazala mbewu zathu, we should protect them. So these are the mechanisms that you can use to protect your crops, either from the diseases or against the pests or against the weeds. Okay, so we are putting proper management that can help the crops to be protected from pests, disease, as well as weeds. So those are the examples of improved farming technology that can help to increase the food supply. So we have stopped at crop protection tomorrow we'll continue from this part. So if you have questions, comments, please bring them forward. Thank you so much.